We're in part three of constructivism on organizing knowledge. Previously, we discussed about what is constructivism, and we said that it refers to the idea that learners construct knowledge for themselves. So, as we add new experiences, new things to learn, we build upon what was previously learned. It signifies that teaching involves giving opportunities for learners to explore and discover. So we look at the characteristics of constructivism. We say that learners construct understanding. They use mental processes in order to make sense or to give meaning to what it is that they are learning. And that new learning depends on current understanding. So these previously learned concepts become the basis of how you will take in new information and understand it. We say that also learning is facilitated by social interaction and that meaningful learning occurs within authentic learning tasks. So these are very important characteristics of constructivism. It is important to have interaction, to have collaborative work, to have time for the learners and the teachers to interact so that they will socially construct meaning. No, they each contribute their ideas and their own understanding until they come to a common understanding or they help each other. They contribute to each other's construction of meaning. Now, a very important process that happens here is how we organize knowledge as we bring in new ones, as we think about it, as we make sense of it. And therefore, constructivism is very related, no, or hinges, or it is formed or applied as we organize knowledge. So here we talk about concept. Concept is a way of grouping or categorizing objects or events in our minds. So when we have a new thing that is brought before us or we give attention to something new, we develop an understanding of it. And it is a combination of how we think about it, how we categorize it, and how we pull out what we know in our minds and connect this new learning that we have. So, we will discuss three important ways of organizing knowledge, and this is how our concept of the things we learned are formed. Okay? First is concept as feature lists. Learning a concept involves learning specific features that characterize positive instance of a concept. When you say positive instance, it is an example of that understanding. Example, uh, we have what we call defining feature and correlational feature. Okay, so this will determine whether something that we see belongs to a category that we have or that we are forming in our mind. That is what it means when we say it's a positive instance. So what determines whether something is an example or a positive instance of the concept that we have, no? First we consider defining feature. This is a characteristic present in all instance. So if this feature is there, then that example or there in that example, then that example is part of the concept that we have. Example, having three sides is a defining feature of a triangle. Okay, so if you see a particular object, or let's say, look at this, is this a triangle? Is this a positive instance of your concept of what a triangle is? Well, you say, it has three sides. No? Then you say, oh yes, it's a triangle. Now, if you are presented with a circle, you say, is that a positive instance? Is that a triangle? Then you'll say no, because it doesn't have the defining feature, which is having three sides. So when we form a concept, we look at the defining features. No? Okay, the second one is the correlational feature. This is a characteristic that may be present in many instances, but not essential for concept membership. No? For example, cooking and taking care of children are tasks many mothers do, but not all mothers do this. Therefore, these are cooking and taking care of children are correlational and not defining features. So if you see a woman and you say, ah, she is not cooking and taking care of of her children, so she's not a mother. Or maybe you say, oh, that woman cooks and takes care of those children, she is the mother. You wouldn't say that, because cooking and taking care of children, they are just correlational feature. They may just be used to describe what moms do, but it doesn't define what a mother is. So whenever we try to analyze or form concepts, we think critically and consider defining features and correlational features. That helps us categorize new things that we learn, that helps us analyze and judge how we would organize these new things that are coming in our structure in constructing knowledge. Now, concepts can also be viewed as prototypes. A prototype is an idea or visual image of a typical example. It is formed based on the positive instances that learners encounter most often. So, whatever example you always see, that becomes your prototype of that concept. No? Let me give you an example. This is just like a short exercise. Close your eyes and think of a cat. Are you closing your eyes? I'm closing my eyes. Okay, you have a picture of a cat in your head? Good, good. Okay, let me ask you, did you see something like this? No? This is the common looking cat that we have. You see this on the streets, or maybe you have a cat in your home. No? Did you see something? Maybe a different color, but maybe something like this. No? Most likely, you did not picture something like this, unless you see a Persian cat. Maybe if you have a Persian cat, then you would imagine this. Or maybe none of you would picture in your head a cat like this. This is the Sphinx cat, because these two are not familiar. So most likely our prototype of a cat would be this picture. No? So that is how prototype works. It is the first image that you have of a certain concept, like a cat has it's furry, it has whiskers, but what you see in your mind is the one that you commonly encounter. That would be your prototype. And as you see other examples, then you add it to that categorization of cats. Okay, so that is really most likely would be our prototype. Now, concepts are also exemplars. Now, they can also be seen as exemplars. Exemplars represent a variety of examples, and it allows learners to know that an example under a concept has or have variability. For example, you create a concept of vegetable, and it can include different examples like cauliflower, carrots, no? Onion, bell pepper, etc. Okay. Now, out of all this, we also create exemplars of certain things, no? For example, certain types of vegetables. For example, you see this and you say, okay, what vegetable is this? No? Let's say it's your first time to see this. Then you would look for an example. You say, yeah, it looks like a vegetable. Uh, like your exemplar would probably be this. You'd say, ay, oo, parang sitaw yan. No? So your exemplar for this type of vegetable would be string beans. If that is the first one that you have in your mind, or that is the one common to you. So that would be the exemplar because it is previously known. And that is what your brain will put forward, no? If you see this for the first time. And therefore, you say, oh, hindi yan sitaw, bichuelas yan. So now you have a newly learned example also that is similar to sitaw, but it's not sitaw. Okay? So your exemplar for you to understand this new vegetable that you are seeing is something that is previously known. Now, later on, you can carry it and you see this and you say, oh, sitaw, bichuelas, no? So you now have the two, okay? As you say, they belong, they're similar. They're similar. And then you say, parang bichuelas, no? So now your exemplar for something like this becomes the bichuelas. And the sicharo is the newly learned um, concept, no? It's a vegetable that's it looks like it's with the family of string beans or sitaw, but it's not bichuelas, it's not green beans, but it is something new. Ay, in Tagalog we call that sicharo, okay? So now you are putting a category together and you'd probably realize later these are legumes, na? And they are a separate categorization of vegetables. So that's how we understand concepts, no? Okay. And then as we build, we are familiar with this, and as we build our uh understanding of a schema, and then we put examples, so we build a level of categorization of concepts in our heads, no? So I know you know what a schema is, and this was introduced to you when you studied PHA. And then aside from schema, we also develop scripts in our heads. It's not just how one concept looks like in the vegetables, but we also create a series of predictable events about a specific activity. So it's a schema, but it involves events. So you call it a script. Like what do you do when you visit a doctor? No? So when you, especially if you're bringing a child to a doctor, anong mangyayari niyan? Lilista siya, titimbangin, no? Papasok sa doktor, then the child will be examined, okay? So there is a series, or maybe a birthday party. As a child, you learn the script. You enter, you look for the birthday celebrant, you give a gift, you're given a name tag, and then there are games, and then you eat, then there's blowing of the cake, and all of that. And then you say goodbye, you're given a giveaway, no? Yan, or loot bags, or what transpire at the beginning of the class when the teacher arrives. So there are scripts that we learn, and they also form our understanding of things. No? So when you become a teacher, it is very important that you you make concept learning effective. So first, you provide a clear definition, and then you focus on the defining features, and then you give positive instances, no, examples that are part of that concept, and also negative instances, what are not part. So if you're teaching shapes, you're focusing on a square, then ask the students, is this a square? And then you present them with a circle or you present them with a triangle so that they know, no, that's not an example of a square. So you would know that they understand the concept. No? Maybe you're wondering as a kid, teacher knows that it's not an example. Why is teacher showing that to us? And then the students will say, no, that's not a square. No? But actually, your teacher is just giving you negative instances so that it will be clear that you understand the concept. No? And you cite prototypes of the concept that you are teaching, and you relate other concepts, and of course you make learners participate. Okay, so your role as a teacher is to bring learners to construct their own knowledge such that they have a well organized set of concepts. Aim for them to overcome misconceptions. So as you explain things, if it is very clearly explained, then you dispel, you remove, no, yung kanilang sasabihin nilang hindi ko magets, hindi ko maintindihan, no? Because that is a challenge. How do we make our students think, and how do you present information so that it is very clear to them, no? So aim for them to overcome these misconceptions. And it is important that you acquire skills on how to facilitate concept formation and development. Constructivism can be an excellent guide for you. How do you structure the information that you will show from simple to complex and all of that? No? So that is all about organizing knowledge.